Good evening, everyone. My name is Henry Speedy Kill Ninja, and we are in week 2 of the Great Lakes Esports Conference. I'm joined today with my co-caster.
Hey everybody, I'm Emily. I'm a BW student, so I got a little bit of an insight into the matchup that we've got coming at us today. But like Henry said, week number 2 of GLEC, it's going to be Baldwin Wallace taking on the University of Mount Union. BW coming off of a week 1 win, taking it game 5 over Cleveland State University. Mount Union having their first week as a bye, so this is going to be the first match of GLEC that they are going to be playing this season.
Yeah, huge win for Baldwin Wallace over Cleveland State. Big upset. I mean, at least in my opinion. Cleveland State obviously having a very successful year in Overwatch last year. So Baldwin Wallace starting off this season really strong, looking to keep rolling today. But Mount Union, I mean, they're kind of a mystery today. Did not have the most, I guess, strong season in the last year, but kind of an unknown. We'll see how they can perform today.
I mean, a full year of time, it'll give you the ability to improve as things go on. But with Overwatch being such a mobile game, with things shifting around so fast, sometimes that 1 year to develop just might not be quite enough. Kicking us off for this series, going to be taking us over to Ilios. Obviously, control maps taking us to the start. The one change that there will be, BW, not the exact same roster that you just saw. DeBoss Baby will be out. Scarecrow will be stepping in. BW using a 6-man roster. And it's something that I have my own personal opinions about. Never been the biggest fan of the full rotating roster, but I'm never opposed to people doing it properly. So we'll have to see what comes of this.
Yeah, and I don't know if we mentioned the bans, but Cassidy banned for Baldwin Wallace, and then the Lucio ban for Mount Union. I believe the support player, if you want to talk about a little more, really strong Lucio player.
Yeah, Scarecrow was somebody that, especially in early scrims and all throughout last week, was essentially permanently on that Lucio. So seeing the ban come out round 1 with him in the lineup, it'll force him over to that Juno. And I know that that's something that both him and DeBoss Baby, the other player in that role, have put time into, as we're going to be receiving a little bit of a tech pause. So potentially a little bit of a wait. Delaying the exact start of this match. But I know it's something that both of them have been working on, and I know it's something that Plastic Tea has been proficient in. So it's one of those things where if obviously if it gets banned out, you need to have some mobility, some versatility with your characters, because if you only got one and it gets banned out, like, your option is, all right, play another thing that I'm hopefully good at, or just like I'm essentially a waste of a body on the map, which, like, it feels harsh, but if your character gets banned out and you don't have anything to fall back on, you don't have anything to fall back on. So, like,
yeah, I think it's great that Overwatch kind of introduced bans competitively, like recently. I'm not sure if it was like a year or 2 ago, but it adds more depth to the game for players who are like one-trick pony players. So, got to be able to adapt, able to change, and have some experience on some other characters in your role. We did get a quick sneak peek at what the characters were playing. I think I saw a Sigma for the tank of Mount Union. Not sure if you got a chance to look at the comps, but what are your kind of thoughts looking at that briefly? Of course, they can change, but...
I mean, obviously, yeah. I know BW had the Vendetta out, and especially from last week, I haven't been able to look across the league or even into like OWCS to see what things are looking like right now. But I know Vendetta has been incredibly strong, especially for teams that are looking to play much more of a dive, fast-paced thing, which obviously the Lucio ban kind of counteracts. But at the same time, if somebody is just in your face constantly, it's kind of hard to stop that.
Yeah.
So I saw a little thing specifically on the BW side that really looked to accentuate that. I know I saw an Echo on the DPS of Rapid, and then I saw Grilled Cheese being on that Zarya, so allowing for those dives in and having a little bit of not exactly extra health, but functionally extra health with the bubbles, allowing for those dives to be a little bit more prolonged. As far as the side of Mount Union, again, didn't get the greatest look at it. I know I saw a Zen on there, which I'll be interested to see how that works, especially with if BW is looking to play with a very with fast pace. Something like that could be a little bit interesting. And even looking at the rest of the comp for Mount Union, looking like much more of a comp meant to be played a little bit further back, with the hit scan selection of Ashe and the Sojourn coming out there along with the Zen. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how this plays out, especially with this first contact. With still 12 seconds left till that point pops. It is going to be a second, but it is that Vendetta that's just going to be jumping into the background. Satni Scarecrow already finding one. Satni finding the second. Sigma second to last that's up. Ash getting wiped. It's a full team kill for BW and instant control of the point.
For sure. And we'll see if any swaps come through. But one thing you did mention is you hadn't seen OWCS in a while. You know, with the competitive season being in a bit of a hiatus over winter break, and college esports, of course, too, it's interesting to see, you know, with these new patches, new seasons, like, what will the new meta be for these teams? So it's only week 2 of the GLEC here. So I'm sure both teams still have some new strategies, some new heroes they're going to be trying out here today. So it'll be interesting to take a look at that.
Yeah, and especially with how regularly Overwatch is getting patched, like we've already seen the power of the of Vendetta get toned down a little bit, but still being such a dominant pick. And Mount Union, they were able to pick up that pick onto Satni the Vendetta. However, he was able to find one. Plastic T is going to find another, and it's going to force Mount Union back onto that retreat. Grilled Cheese extending, looking to maybe get a little bit more damage, a little bit more charge, but nothing quite to be found. And a little bit of a revolving door here for Mount Union, swapping out that Sigma for the Czar, trying to go, I don't know, band for band, I guess is the best way to put it, in the tank lineup. But we'll have to see if that is going to make a difference here. BW now well past that 50 mark, extending closer to that 70. Mount Union going to be looking at maybe 2 team fights left before BW is going to get this first point capture.
Ooh, and tank does go down for Baldwin Wallace, so opportunity for Mount Union here if they're able to get onto point. Multi-economy is not looking great, so Baldwin Wallace about to have a lot of ultimates available, so now's the time to go.
Yeah, it's going to be Satni popping the Vendetta ult. It's going to allow for a little bit more aggression to be found. The bubble on the Moira going to be able to help a little bit, but Satni able to find 2 more. The assist from Rapid to find the third is going to shut down the Mount Union offensive. Couple seconds left for them to try to rally some sort of touch, but it does not look like anybody's going to be close enough. It's going to be BW securing first point, 100-0, an uncontested capture here on round 1 of Ilios. And moving into map 2, I don't know what your read on the situation is, but I feel like Mount Union just needs a little bit more pace on their hits.
Yeah, it's still early in the set, but that looks pretty dire for Mount Union. I mean, just going to keep it cut and dry. That's kind of what happened. But, you know, they're on their heels now. They, you know, took a hit, but, you know, how are they going to be able to respond? You know, things like their comp, it looks like their Rook is pulling out a Reinhardt right now. But, you know, Mount Union wants to try and build some momentum on this second map and, you know, try and capture a point here.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a big play out of Mount Union, again, having to get that second and then rally it to a third. We see Rook swap back onto the Czar, but the Arcane swap up onto the Junkrat, allowing for a little bit more just collateral damage with those nades. It's going to allow for things to potentially get some more damage out here, but BW is going to opt to stall, play a little bit slow. Satni is going to be the first one that goes in, looking to clear out the top. He's going to be able to get people down, but no picks found quite yet. As Mount Union, they're going to have 4 on the point, and Satni going to be caught out and caught off guard. It's going to be End with the Brig whip shot, able to find first pick and allow for Mount Union to get that point captured, as BW now going to need to regroup and reset with the characters and players that they have.
Yeah, another thing of note, too, with Mount Union having a week 1 bye, this is their first game of the season, while Baldwin Wallace has had a little bit of time to settle in. But Mount Union, you know, with their time to, you know, take that right hook, get punched, looks like they're back on their feet and they're able to find a pick and cap point there.
Yeah, it's going to allow for a little bit, I was going to say, it allows for them to not only be a little bit unpredictable because you don't have any footage on them, but again, that extra week of practice, it allows for you to kind of build up your strategies and how you want to play. And I feel like that had to play some sort of factor in here with the round 1 Lucio ban coming out almost like an ante. But it's going to be BW trying to get an opening. It is going to be Rapid finding the first. Grilled Cheese able to take out the opposing tank on Mount Union. It's going to be the dive up from Matt, trying to get the pick onto either Scarecrow or Plastic T. Nothing to be found. It's going to be Matt, last one up in the point. Is going to be able to find one on a Scarecrow, but the insta trade from Rapid is going to allow for BW not only to secure point, but also to stagger that Soj. And while the Soj has ult, it still is going to be a second before she's back up and back into the fight.
Yeah, that was a huge stagger. Going to allow a lot of time for BW to tick up their percentage here on this point.
Yeah, it allows for a little bit more to be built. As we were talking about earlier with alts, it's going to be Mount Union with the only one available on the field, but Plastic T not that far. Scarecrow and Goat Cheese also not that far as well. Still is going to be a second before they fully have those up. A Rapid is going to drop to the dive-in of Matt, but Matt caught in that back line is going to be able to get brought back up. And Arcane is going to be able to double up on those picks. It's going to force BW off of the point. It's going to force another reset for the Yellow Jackets if they wish to bring things back. Mount Union crossing that 60% mark, having 2 ults in the back pocket, both of the supports, but BW will have the same along with their tank and just shy of the duplication from Rapid. It's going to be potentially a big dump here on this point if BW is looking to get things going, and it's going to be the Kitsune Rush coming out early. The rally back will get shut down early by Grilled Cheese, and it's going to allow for a fall in. Grilled Cheese getting more picks on the site with the support of the rest of the team. Grilled Cheese with a big 3. Scarecrow gets the 4th, and it's a full team wipe for BW. Gets them control back of the point, still keeping 3 of their ults online in the back pocket.
Yeah, and you just said it. I mean, huge win for Baldwin Wallace there is all they had to use was gates, and they still have all their ults up. Mount Union did use the Brig ult, but they only have 2 available versus the 4. So ult economy, Baldwin Wallace with the point, and they have the ults in their favor right now.
Yeah, it looked like maybe at the end of that fight, though, Rapid popping the replicator accidentally or maybe intentionally, not getting a ton of value, though, so he's going to be far back on that, and the Rip Tire is going to come out. Not going to be finding anything, though. Maybe getting preemptively popped on Rook instead of Grilled Cheese, but that grab is going to combine Plastic T finding 2, Rapid and Scarecrow finding another. The Juno ult coming through as well. Another full team wipe for BW.
Huge team kill.
And they still have the Vendetta ult in the back pocket. Matt going to be swapping onto the Tracer. And Mount Union, they have the Coalescence. They have the Graviton Surge, but it's really all that it's looking like. And Satin going to be
don't get the touch.
Instantly taking down Matt, and BW, though they had to work for it on that second map, it's going to be a 2-0 win to start off the series, giving them map 1 of this potential best of 5. And I mean, big performances coming out from not only all the BW people, but especially the impact of that Vendetta. It was something that, I mean, I saw firsthand last week. I wasn't sure if it was going to stay the same, allowing Satney to just kind of work on his own, but that's how it ended up being. And BW now in control of the series, but Mount Union with the pick as far as where they want to go next. What do you think we could be looking to expect if you have any sort of insight on this team from potentially years past?
Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, I could look back at last year at what maps they played, but it's a new year, new team. One thing I did like to see, at least for prospects of this series being exciting, is Mount Union did, have some good fights, have some good things in that second map on Ilios. And Baldwin Wallace was dealing with some adversity there. Baldwin Wallace clearly showing why they're 1-0, why they're, looking like one of the stronger teams heading into this season. Don't want to, throw out any too crazy things like saying early season favorite or anything like that. But they're a strong team and they're showing why.
Yeah, I was going to say very again, pretty much exactly as you said early on, getting a good win, showing themselves to be capable, but don't want to pull anything too early. Don't want to make any preemptive calls that maybe could be incorrect and blow up in our faces later down the line. But again, I was going to say exactly like you said, did face some adversity there in the mid on that second point, had to battle back for control a couple of times, but they were able to get back into the driver's seat. And it felt like every time they needed to battle back, they had the right play at the right time. So not a ton of big worry to be had so far. If series is to continue and things are to get shaky, obviously, then we can start to put some potential question marks onto some of the plays, some of the selections and whatnot. But so far, even though a little bit back and forth, still a lead to be had and still relatively speaking comfortable. So moving forward, obviously Mount Union starting to put things together towards the end of that, but we need to see a little bit more. We need to see them kick it up a gear as far as things go, because if they're able to, or if they keep that pace up, it's unfortunately going to be looking like potentially a comfortable 3-0 for BW. So if we want to keep this thing interesting, if we want to get a little bit more content out of it, going to need Mount Union to, pick up the pace, start bringing things up a notch.
Yeah, and the one thing about that map too there as well was when BW did face that adversity, they immediately came back, had that massive grab and a team kill. So when they had some adversity, they just came back and had a crazy team fight, and also that what was their the Zentra dude, the dude with the Guarani. So I was coming from a league player. Crazy.
No, you're chilling. The Vendetta player?
Ham. Yes, the
Vendetta.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Satney's an interesting one. He used to be the tank, but then Grilled Cheese came in and allowed for a little bit more flexibility within the system. And they've had him on Vendetta every opportunity they get. He's just been unleashed.
And Vendetta's a newer character, right?
Vendetta is the newest character. I don't remember exactly how long she's been out, but she's already received a nerf. So we're not even seeing her at the full power that she has. She's already been taken down a notch, and she is still just getting this level of, what do you call it?
Presence.
Getting this level of presence and getting this level of impact. Do have the selections for map 2 coming in. UMU going to be taking us to a push map, New Queen Street. And for BW is going to be the swap out. DeBoss Baby coming in. Scarecrow going to be stepping back. So getting a little bit getting a look back at the initial 5 that we saw on that graphic. So the lineup that has had a little bit more practice time. Scarecrow being the new kid on the block, only coming in last semester. Now, or coming in this semester, these 4 have been together now for obviously a little over a semester. So potentially a little bit more synergy, maybe a reactionary call to the back and forth push that we saw, or maybe just giving your people, the people that a little bit more of that playtime when it comes to in the server.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that swap for Mount Union, with Scarecrow going out, they don't have to worry about banning the Lucio. They can focus that ban exactly where they want, and I think it's going to be on the Zedetta. Oh, no, it's on Zarya.
Yeah, I was going to say I wasn't sure if it was going to be the Vendetta ban or the Zar ban. The Zar is mega impactful, and I feel like that's the reason, especially for a map where games can last kind of long. Because again, Push has a max, has a timer of 10 minutes, and then there is OT in that. So games can get pretty long, but honestly, most of these picks, at least from the BW side, not really surprised by anything here. The Vendetta back on side. Grilled Cheese going to be on the Hazard instead of the Czar. Wu Yang coming out for the Boss Baby. Plastic T on the Juno. Rapid on the Sim. Feels like things that I've seen before. Side of Mount Union. Good to see Arcane back on the Junkrat. Matt is going to be playing the Sim this time, which I'm not sure if that's going to be a stick or just for that TP out. Looks like it is going to be the stick. Well, Matt's actually going to stick on it. For BW, Rapid's going to be swapping over to the Sombra.
I was looking at the other team.
No worries. But as far as rounding out Mount Union, Rook on the Ramatra, and then End on the Yari, Doodlebug on that Moira. And already we're going to be seeing a little bit of team fighting coming out. Grilled Cheese knocks 1 into 2 of the rockets from Plastic T. Satney able to find the 3rd, and looks like BW getting back to winning ways. And last man alive will get taken out by Satney, and that's going to be an early BW team kill for control of the robot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most interesting pick here is definitely the Hazard. It's something that, as far as I know, has not been super common as of recently, and is not super in meta. So it is interesting to see how this Hazard's going to be utilized. One thing about this map, though, is very momentum-based. So if they're able to get to this close spawn, we'll see a huge fight as Mount Union tries to deny it. But if Baldwin Wallace is able to win this, I mean, they're in a really strong position for game 2.
Yeah, with that close spawn, I was going to say, like you said, it changes that momentum massively. It is going to be Satney and Grilled Cheese, though, able to find 2, and they're going to combine for another 2. Last man up is Rook. He is going to drop another team wipe for BW. A little bit of a stagger onto that tank, but not really a ton. And when we talk about momentum-based modes, BW, they put their foot on the gas, and they are not letting it lift anytime soon.
And not only the mode, but also their ult charge, because they're going to have all their ults before Mount Union does, and that's just going to lead to further momentum in Baldwin Wallace's favor.
Absolutely. We see that Vendetta already out and already being popped. He's going to find the first on Doodlebug, potentially initiate a little bit more of a fight, especially with Grilled Cheese so far in there. Satney is going to follow up, finds 2, Plastic T able to find a 3rd, and now it's Mount Union chased into their back. Matt's going to find the pick onto Satney, but Grilled Cheese able to find not necessarily the trade, but equalizing numbers. We're going to see a late minute shift Rook onto the Reinhardt, potentially to try to stall out. They are going to get control of that. It is going to be the Rip Tire that is going to be popped, looking for a pick, trying to jump into the back line. Going to get big damage on Grilled Cheese, but able to get into the Wu Yang and able to get a little bit of healing back up. While we were focused on that, Rapid drop to Matt is going to be back up at this point, and like you were talking about with those close spawns, he's going to be able to get back into the fray much faster than he would have if he got those initial spawns. So it's going to allow for a big momentum shift. As we see Grilled Cheese able to get that, pops the ult, finds the second, picks back and forth, but Rapid able to pick up a few more. Arcane last up. Rapid finds that a 3-piece for him. A team kill with a big stagger onto that Junkrat. And now BW just needing a couple meters before they are able to take this map 2 of push. Mount Union are able to get out onto it and hold, but BW has just got ults galore, and realistically, I could be seeing this coming down to just who's able to capitalize on the dumped ults.
And there's 2 huge picks right there, and Baldwin Wallace looking in a really good spot to have this full push, and yeah, that'll likely do it with the team kill.
I was gonna say, full team wipe, Juno ult coming out, combined with the mega EMP from Sombra, and that's just BW taking the early 2-0 lead in this series. And I mean, we may have given them a little bit of slack, or a little bit of flack for the slightly, the back and forthness that was necessitated from the Ilios map 2, but once you get the lineup that's been playing for a while, you get the comms coming back and forth from DeBoss Baby and Plastic T, who she's been performing at this for a while, been one of those main play callers, especially one of the big fight planners, and being on a like character like Juno, or even a character like Kiriko, like we saw her in the last map, just able to apply a lot of those big momentum shifting ults just at a moment's notice, and it allows for just so much extra pressure.
Yeah, and another player who was huge on that push on Queen Street was Rapid on the Sumatra.
The Sombra, yeah.
The Sombra. That play of the game was not even like the 3 or 4K they had, but I mean, absolute crazy game out of Rapid there. So
yeah. It was one of those things where, I'll be honest, he picked it during the CSU game, and I remember watching it, and I was sitting next to my roommate, and I turned to him and I was like, why is he on Sombra? What does he know? And he's just been phenomenal on it, just finding so much pressure, even without the Hazard, which I feel like the Hazard pick, like I even questioned it. Like we were both kind of a little, I don't know how I feel, but with the pace that BW is trying to play, it felt like almost a perfect pick. Like it felt like it just flowed into the system flawlessly and allowed for just so much extra pressure to be extended with very minimal really being given up. So
yeah,
BW looking good so far.
Yeah, and they're really getting the opportunity to work on some different characters like the Sombra, like the Hazard, and have this opportunity in week 2 to kind of experiment with some different comps while they're still early in the season. So, they can push to get to that mid-season form a little bit quicker.
Oh, absolutely. And especially with the shifting tides, where I'm not exactly sure how many positions LAN are, you want to use these early weeks. If you have that time to work on something and refine your craft, you need to do that fast, because we get into that midseason, we get into that late season really fast. It sneaks up on you. And if you aren't ready, if you haven't been playing at the top of your game, you could get into a late season stretch where you got 3 to 4 games back to back, and you have to win out if you want to have any chance to go on down to South Bend to compete for a championship.
Yep. Well, with that, we are going to head to a short break, and we will be right back with Game 3.
Yeah, we'll see you on the other side.
And welcome back to Game 3 of Mount Union versus Baldwin Wallace in Week 2 of the Great Lakes Esports Conference Spring 2026 season.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. You're catching map, obviously, as Henry said, map 3 of this matchup. It's going to be taking us to Circuit Royale. Nice little escort map for us here. If you missed the first 2 maps of the series, I'll give you a very quick rundown on what happened. BW kind of slammed. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like saying that regularly, but I don't know
Well,
if
I
there's
mean, map 2 of Ilios. I mean, Mount Union
okay,
was putting
that
some
is
work
fair.
in.
That is
Yeah,
fair. That is
as far
fair.
as New Queen Street and
I was about
map,
to
that's
say
probably an accurate description.
I was gonna say, like, map 2 Ilios, I was gonna say it was a nice back and forth affair. And then New Queen Street happened.
It's okay. We got a Baldwin Wallace player, but I'm a Mount Union alum, so I gotta give my guys a little bit of love over there too. So
we can get very biased commentary here, and it can be very fun.
You know, they are making it slightly difficult. I hate to admit it, but we got a new map here, clean slate, fresh start, and you know I'm pulling for Mount Union to get a little make things a little interesting here for the broadcast.
Maybe looking at a little reverse sweep here, trying to make things a little interesting.
We got to start. We got to start just getting this.
We got to start
point.
with a map. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, we got to start with a point. So,
yeah.
I will say, they are gonna have the Malga.
Yeah, they are gonna have the Malga, and Mount Union utilizing their Vendetta ban now. So taking out a large basis of. Yes, of the BW offense is going to be taken off now. Satni instead going to be swapping over to the Hanzo, which, I mean, I'm going to question, but that's just because I'm like low-key Hanzo hater, but like it be like that sometimes. But I mean, the rest.
I was going to say, we'll see if Satni's just like absolutely and crazy at Overwatch, or if he's just a Vendetta user.
I mean, true, low-key.
I think it's a little bit of both, probably.
I was gonna say, depending on who you are, you could probably make the argument that it's both. I'm not gonna lie. He's got some people who probably would call him carry. But it is gonna be the Malga here trying to get a pick, unable to quite find it. But it is gonna be even trades back and forth here for the side of Mount Union and BW. BW losing, I believe, a DPS and a healer. Mount Union the same, so a little bit of a stall out, but Mount Union, they're going to be back to the full 5 much faster than BW. Satni getting a little bit of damage on that Hanzo. Grilled Cheese right now trying to lead some sort of offensive and is able to get a little bit of charge from that bubble and is going to pop Rook. Rapid able to find another. Grilled Cheese is going to find a third. And now it's just BW hitting that go button. Doesn't matter if they have the Vendetta or if they don't. Just going to be able to take that, and it is going to be the first team kill for BW against Mount Union, stalling them out of getting that first point and forcing a full reset.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, that bridge spot on Circuit Royale in the first point is like a super common stall area. So Baldwin Wallace kind of still able to trap them under that high ground, low ground section that's really tough to push through.
Yeah, I was going to say it's
kind of mostly through it, but not really.
Yeah, it's a choke, but it's also a choke that goes around a corner. So not only do they have natural cover, but it's not even like you can really extend far out. You're naturally being funneled into that corner. So you have to fight essentially an uphill battle the entire way. Satni, though, he's going to be able to find another pick onto the Iari. He's going to be very low, but is able to bide his time, potentially get a little bit more damage. Gonna find another Rapid on the Soj, able to find another as well, and Mount Union just unable to get a full 5-man push going against BW. As I say that, Matt able to find the first onto Rapid, and that might be the go button that Mount Union is looking for. Unfortunately for them, BW sit on a full house of ults here, so really they can utilize whatever they want whenever they want, if they so please. Nothing popped quite yet, and like you said, we're going to be under this bridge looking at a little bit of a stall. And as I say that, there's like 4 ults that get popped. It's going to be 2 from Satni.
Okay, so Satni is just crazy at the game.
Yeah, he might be good at the game, low-key. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, that felt like a big chance for Mount Union off of that pick, but Baldwin Wallace smartly, gave their space, backed up, and they waited for their opportunity to have their full 5 to take the fight, where Mount Union would have been forced to kind of overextend if they really wanted to force a fight there.
Yeah, I was going to say they picked like the the perfect time to use only 2 of their ults to win that fight. So they didn't really have to spend a lot more. Still have the Soj along with both support ults in the back pocket. And again, like we were talking about with this bridge spot, there's a lot of natural cover that Mount Union just has to fight uphill against. And BW, they've been doing so well to utilize this so far. It's going to be Rapid, able to take down the Iari ult, but Alga ult in this backline is going to get shut down, and Rapid able to find 2. DeBoss Baby and Satney able to clean it up. And Mount Union with 6 seconds left, I don't even know if they're going to have the chance for a touch. Yeah, it's going to be just a little bit too far out. So BW able to complete round 1, not allowing Mount Union to get a point on the hold. And now BW not even needing to push it to the first point if they want to secure a clean 3-0 and a 2-0 on the season so far.
Yeah, strong defense there for Baldwin Wallace. The one minor caveat is, like I said, this bridge portion, I have seen multiple Overwatch games where both teams kind of get stuck without even getting to the first point because it's such a tough area of Circuit Royale to get through. But Mount Union, I mean, they're going to have to play flawlessly, no mistakes, because all it takes is one lost team fight, and the entire series is over.
Yeah, one lost team fight, even one like good stagger where you're able to get like 2 or 3 down because your spawn's a little closer. You can force things to be a little bit fast. And for the side of Mount Union, Baldwin Wallace running back the comp from last half. For the side of Mount Union, it's going to be, at least in my opinion, a little unorthodox. Bringing out the Czar to be expected, the Ashe not super unexpected, especially for Matt's character pool. Arcane, we've seen him do good on the Junkrat, but the side of Doodlebug going the Curie and then the side of End going for this Mercy, I'm not 100% opposed to it. I'm a little concerned just because of the how it's good healing, but it's very condensed to one player, and that sometimes it can be hard to pass that healing around to the group. But he may make me eat my words. You never know. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Now Union holding their ground on the high ground on the bridge here. Wallace turning the corner.
Yeah, this is going to be the first.
I was going to say now for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Mount Union has to play flawlessly here.
Pretty much. I was going to say this is going to be the first real test for BW. Is this corridor? Arcane's going to be dropped a little low. Things could have gotten a little iffy, but it is going to be Grilled Cheese choosing to skip over the other Zarya, able to find 1. Satney finding 2 while he's at it, and I'm going to
He literally just ignored him. Went straight to backline.
Literally, I was going to say, I'm going to keep it buck. Little unfortunate. I think it is going to be the BW 3-0. The Yellow Jackets are going to take this one cleanly on the series, able to close out the game up against Mount Union, who I will give them their flowers, were able to put up there were moments where things looked actually really put together. I'm not going to lie. The second point on Ilios actually looked very good. Obviously, we talked about the other things. And even the beginning half of this map, before we got to the bridge stall, looked like they had a really good plan and a really good way that they were going through things. Unfortunately, like you were talking about, once you get to that bridge position, you got around that corner, things just don't go great sometimes. And that's how it is sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, super strong performance for Baldwin Wallace. Going to be starting the season 2-0 with a Game 5 win as well as a 3-0 sweep, and going to have a lot of momentum going into the mid-season portion of the Great Lakes Esports Conference. And for Mount Union, they're 0-1, start off with a loss, but like you said, had some good moments in that game. I think they have some things to work on, but also some good things that they can build upon.
Absolutely. Again, like you said, it's 0-1. It was their first game of the season. They still have a lot of time to improve. And also, there's still a lot of matches to be played. And over that time, improvement is not a linear thing. We could see this team very quickly skyrocket up the rankings if they are just able to put a couple pieces together and able to really get things rolling. And also, they still have time. It's second week. There's still a lot of Overwatch and a lot of matches across the entirety of the Great Lakes Esports Conference to be played. So for a lot of these teams that maybe don't start off the best, just don't get the record that they want, A lot of games to be played, a lot of teams to be fought, a lot of improvement to be had, and a lot more just esports in general, I guess.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Baldwin Wallace taking this win 3 versus Mount Union week 2 of the Great Lakes Esports Conference. My name's Henry, Speedy Kill Ninja, and my co-caster.
Yeah, my name's Emily. It's been a pleasure to bring this game to you all. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you whenever the next time is.